between last video and this video, something has totally changed, and I'm not a big fan of it. It's coming back. Don't worry. The brewski will never be beardless ever again. It's a terrible, terrible decision. Anyway, we got some beer to drink. Let's give you some knowledge. Hopefully, you're drinking along with me. Beer, 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 beer. Hello everybody, welcome back to me, Neipa, from the Brewski review. Today the beer that I have for you guys is from the Grand River Brewing Company, which in my mind was from Grand River, Ontario, if that's a place. I'm pretty sure it's a place. That makes sense. I haven't done a beer from them in years and seen many. But we have this one. They're out of Vaughan, Ontario. I think they're with Magnata Brewing as well, or Magnata Beer and Wine and whatnot. But hey, who cares? We have Grand Ave Juicy IPA. And the cool thing about this beer is that even though it's 6.5% ABV and it's an IPA, it has 0 IBUs. Now you're wondering, how do you have an IPA with no IBUs? Well, we're going to get to that in just a little bit. Let's crack this bad boy open. 6.5%, 0 international bitterness units, and that's already foaming the fuck up. I don't know why I self-censored there. We're all allowed to say fuck. Let's pour it up. Let's see what's going on. And why did you foam up like that? Were you stored too warm? Are you too old? Let's see what's going on. Looking at the beer, nice golden yellow in color, nice bit of haze, not hazy crazy, but a decent little bit of haze. A white fluffy head on top. I'm excited. You should be excited. We got a Soda City pint glass here, because I was drinking some Tongue-Tied earlier. I thought matchy vibes for that, but no matchy for the review. Get over it. On the nose. Ooh. Very uneventful, I want to say. Not too intense of an aroma. Light citrus, a little bit of pine, lemons, slight grapefruit rind, pininess to it. Not too much going on. Let's give it an agitation. Sometimes that changes things quite a bit. With that, like a nice little melon boost right there. Again, more pine, indeed. Yeah, a bit of melon, more pine, little notes of cucumber refreshingness as well. I'm excited. Let's dive in. Yeah, it's not bitter at all, but also it's a little oddly flavored, per se. I need another sip. Cheers, everybody. Let's keep on drinking. A little orangey, little lemon droppy. No real pininess. Not much grapefruit going on. Interesting. Yeah, lemon drop, lemon candy, orange. Kind of really what it is. Nice citrus notes, but not sour, more bitter, more fruity, but at the same time muted. It's like a false sense of bitterness. It's like you're getting the flavor of bitter, of like bitter hops and like, hoppy bitterness, but without the bitterness. It's very interesting. The best way to kind of describe it is like drinking non-alcoholic beer. It tastes like beer and looks like beer, but there's something about it where it's just not beer. That's the best way I kind of can kind of communicate that to you. Yeah. Orange, lemon candy, slightly grassy, and then maybe like a touch breadiness almost. It's very hard. It's very hard for me to really explain how this beer tastes. Very interesting. Let's dive into the can and see what I have to say. Grand River Brewing Grand Ab Juicy IPA. Boom, 6.5% ABV, 0 IBUs. A journey to great taste. On the back, description reads, zero bitterness doesn't mean a less flavorful beer, and Grand Ave is here to prove it. Our hops are added post-whirlpool in what is called a hop stand. Hop stand. Which adds a punch of hop flavor with an incredibly juicy aroma. The result is a beer packed with the notes of tropical fruits, gooseberries, and subtle pine that defies what you would expect. It'll be grand. So I forget exactly what the hop stand is, or I'm just going to explain it without realizing they're both together. But and especially post-whirlpool, in my mind, what I think is happening, and what probably is happening, is that they're adding the hops in, but not during the boil, which obviously makes sense. It's after whirlpool. There's no boiling. You're cooling out and transferring. But what happens, and what I've seen done, what I've heard is done as well, is that the hops, we all know, have a bunch of flavors. They also have a bunch of bitterness depending on the strain of hops. But if you bring a beer under boil and you throw in your hops, they're still going to dissipate, they're still going to get mixed in and whatnot, and they will add a shit ton of flavor to your beer. But the longer you boil a hop, the more bitter it becomes and the less flavor you get. Longer boil time, more bitterness, less flavor. Smaller amount of boil time, less bitter, more flavor. No boil, in theory, no bitterness, all flavor. So this is how they would have achieved 0 IBUs. Very interesting. Ingredients: we have water, malted barley, hops, yeast. Contains barley for anybody who is, gonna die if they eat barley, and so on and so on. On the bottom, there was a date code, or maybe there was, maybe there isn't. There's just a black shot of paint or something. So who knows, but the way they went all over the can, or at least the top of the can, the lid, seems to be either it's a little old or it was stored quite warm over an extended period of time. I'm going with the warm part. Website is magnata.com. You go to the beer section, you will eventually find Grand River beers, and then you can see on their shop page for pricing and whatnot, and then they give you a picture of the beer, same exact description as on the can, ABV, IBUs, and yeah, pretty standard stuff. Moving on. Moving on to Untappd. As for some reason it starts to reload itself, like I just opened a new page. I didn't. I had it on here, but my MacBook is kind of old and it's a little weird, so you know what? It happens. Grand Ave Juicy IPA gets a solid 3.55 bottle caps out of 5 and 37 reviews. Not a bad rating. It's not a bad beer. It is interesting and kind of hard to describe because there is no bitterness to it, which you would think would make it easier. But it is juicy. I'm getting more citrus here. I'm not really getting any berries or melons or anything. I'm just getting like sweet candied lemons and like lemon candies and orange candies. I'm gonna totally scrap that breadiness. There's something else in that, and grassiness. Little hint of grassy vibes in this brew. As for the price of the beer at your local LCBO, you're gonna be spending $3.55 for the 473 ml tallboy can. $3.55 for a 6.5% alcohol by volume brewski. It's kind of cool. Yeah, you know what? This is a great beer for people to enjoy if they're not a big fan of super bittery beers, like your pale ales and IPAs and double IPAs and triple IPAs and all the kinds of IPAs. You can still come to the IPA party, but you won't have to be blasted in the face with hop bitterness. You're just getting the hoppy goodness of flavor. Delicious, delicious flavors. So yeah, come join the party. Drink with us. We're happy you're here. Overall, you know what? Not a bad beer. Not a bad beer at all. 0 IBUs brings you to the party without slapping you around with bitterness. You get some solid hop flavors out of this. It's easy drinking, not heavy, not overly carbonated. Even with that little of stuff, it's not flat either, which is great. It tastes great, it looks great, it's a fun time. It's 6.5%. You really can't go wrong. With that said, cheers on the final sip. Let's get ready to ring and wrap this thing up. I need to blow my nose. There's a bunch of boogers in there. Grand River, Grand Ave Juicy IPA. It's damn delicious. It is damn delicious indeed. I'm a fan of this. I would like more bitterness, but that's me, and that's not what you were going for. So really, that statement has no bearing in this conversation here. It's just a damn good beer. It's juicy, it's sweet without being overly sweet. It is delicious. You can imagine the bitterness if you're a bitter fan, and oh my lord, it's 6.5% for like $3.55 a can. You can't say no. You can't say no at all. Either way, Grand Ave, Grand River, solid stuff. Indeed, a solid 7.9 out of 10 for me. Before I leave you guys, if you have any comments, questions, or beers you want to review in the future, you can leave all that information down in the comment box below. If you want to go and like this video or subscribe to me, Neipa Brewski, that'd be greatly appreciated as well. And with all that said, that's going to do it for me, Neipa Brewski. Like I always say, crack a beer and enjoy. Cheers. Zero IBUs does not mean you can't have fun. It just means you're not gonna get blasted with bitterness. Do 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 do. Cheers.